All right, so I'm going to show you how to make a fade in or fade out MIDI cue, and then how to use it if you're working with the templates that already have these built in. But I'll show you how to make them, and then that should make it fairly intuitive of how we need to use them. So to do this, because especially our fade out triggers are probably going to share the same measure as our next song trigger over here, we need to actually move to using two IAC channels. We don't need multiple buses or anything. We just need two channels. So the easiest way to do that is, especially if you have an IAC channel with nothing already in it, just click on the IAC channel over here and hit Command D. It duplicates everything about that IAC channel. So if this one was working great for you, this one's going to work for you as well. Now let's get down to making these new fade in, fade out MIDI triggers. So we're going to click on and create a one measure region. And then in that region, scroll all the way down, and we're going to double click and create a note that then I'm going to click and drag and extend as a one measure note. I'm using F-2. It works out convenient, and serendipitously we've used C-2, D-2, and E-2 for loop, next, and stop. I forget which order they are. But by providence or random chance, we have F, it represents fade. So the F note down there will be for fades. Right now it's not going to fade anything, it's just a note. We need to actually, unlike stop, next, and loop, which are just clicking a button, fade requires a gradual movement, right? So we need to add a value that does that gradual movement for us. To do that, we're going to come down here to this envelope button. It looks like arrows spreading out. We're going to choose, we're going to get this new mini window open up. We want a MIDI control. And pitch bend needs to become, it's not pitch bend that we're controlling volume. So we're going to click on that. Now, the thing is, we normally operate all these bass groups at 0, or not bass groups, all these group channels operate at 0 at unity. So in order to do that, that's actually at 108 in this MIDI volume control for some reason, not 100. So I'm going to go 108, and by clicking there, I added a node. And coming over here, I'm going to click and add another new node and put it all the way at 0, which is infinity volume down. It's silence. Now that's the custom thing we needed to do. We had to come into the volume envelope of this region and the note value. So it's actually the region. Now we're ready to actually equip this to actually do something. So we're going to line our playback up with the beginning of this region that we want to make into a fade out MIDI trigger. I'm going to go into MIDI, and then I'm going to clip. I don't have to do every channel. I'm just going to do the groups. I'm going to do the volume on each group. So click on the keys group volume right here, and then since I'm lined up at the beginning of this MIDI trigger, and I have keys group selected, I'm going to hit play or spacebar.
Refrain.
And it already grabbed it. We see we have, for some reason it says CC7, but it's F-7. I'm going to control the keys group now. I'm going to reset this. Come down to the bass group.
Refrain.
We'll see that show up. Reset it. Come down to the guitars group.
Refrain.
Reset it. Perk group.
Refrain.
Okay, and that's all we got to do. We can turn this off. MIDI control now, and now watch this. Come over here.
Refrain.
And it worked. And so if you can always modify this, once you drag it in, you can change the note or modify it if you need certain tracks to fade in or fade out. What we're going to do now, though, is we're going to export this MIDI clip to the IAC cues or wherever you're storing these. I'm going to do fade. I'm going to make fade standard caps, not all caps, and then out. That was an out. Fade out, all caps, so it sticks out a little bit better. And it'll show up here in just a second whenever it populates. There it is. Now, we need to create a fade in. I think we're going to have to use a fade in to follow up on every single fade out we use if we want to go back to another song that has tracks in it. So let's create a fade in just so it's there when we need it. The cool thing is we can use the same note value, the F, because it's controlling the same things. All I have to do is reverse this envelope. So again, let me just kind of show you what I just did. We're going to click on this region again. We need to modify it. But instead of just having to move it to a new note head, we don't have to do that. Just go into your envelope. Double check, yeah, we're still on volume. I'm going to come down here, move 0 up to 108. And I'm going to take this 108 and put it down to 0. Whoa, don't drag out. There we go. And so now we'll get, what's this?
Refrain.
Okay, that's not where we would use a fade in, but that's how it will work. And so now, let's export that. Fade in. Okay, let me show you how this would work in real life. Let's say we realize, oh, we only want to do 2 refrains at the end of this song, not 4. This is a refrain.
Refrain.
1, 2,
Refrain.
3,
Refrain. Refrain.
4.
And
Ending. Okay. This is all squirrely now. Let me go up here. Reset these a little bit. They're being a little goofy. Okay.
refrain. All in.
Okay. Right here is where we want the fade out to start. I can even just grab this ending and just kind of drop it in right there. Give it an extra measure so there's no ending. I'm going to drag in a next song trigger to end at the end of a 1-bar fade out. And I'm going to have my 1-bar fade out actually right here. And so it'll be a measure out, I just realized. Because it'll be
Ending.
2, 3, 4. Okay.
Verse.
Or actually, I may want that fade to kind of start because I don't want the chords to change. And then, so with Living Hope, maybe we don't want it
1,
to do this
2,
2-bar count in into
1,
an intro.
2,
Maybe we need for some
3,
reason to go straight
4.
into the verse. I can come over here. I'm going to give it a 4-bar count before the verse starts. And then if I want to, I can actually give the worship leader, it says verse there, and I can copy, highlight 2, 3, and 4 count ins, go to second beat of that measure, paste, copy and paste it over. I already have my next here, jumping me to the starting point of my second song, and I need a fade in right there. Now I'm going to get this piano out of the way because it's going to be playing something I don't want. I just want these pads to kind of come in nice and lush. And now look what I have at the end of song 1 into song 2. Okay. Demonstrating this is making these act a little weird, but in a chronological set list, this will work correct.
Ending.
2, 3, 4, boom. Living Hope, here we go.
Verse. 2, 3, 4.
Right, so now you can, even if we realize, okay, we don't have time for that, we actually need to jump into, what's this?
Interlude. Verse.
Let's say we actually want to start from chorus, from verse,
Chorus.
so there's the chorus. Okay, we could actually even start there. We're going to go straight into a big chorus of Living Hope. So can we set that up? Yeah, sure, we can do that. Yeah, let's do a 2-measure, count in, ring out. So watch this. Oh, okay, let me, wonder why that's acting so screwy. stand by for Living Hope chorus. Living Hope.
Chorus.
2, 3, 4. Okay, something like that. Then a quick pinch, you can throw that in there, kind of thing. It's real nice. And even at the start of a normal song, though, if you're coming out of having used a fade out, we need to use the fade in to get those tracks back to the right spot. Okay, so even a normal song, if you use the fade out cue on one song,
Ending. One,
it's going to
two,
bring it back in.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, and then I'll work the way it needs to. So if you use a fade out, you have to use a fade in to get back into another song with accompaniment tracks. And then as you build your whole set, you can also then use, like sometimes you may want that fade out to happen right there to avoid, but if it needs to overlap, that's again why we're using the IACs. All right, thanks.